welcome to Sporting Jibberish. I'm Stuart Booth.
I'm Jack Huffman.
And today we have got a one-off special for you. This is, well, to my right hand side, or if you're looking at it, it might be your left hand side, I'm not sure which way you're looking. I've got Mr Kearins from JWSOPE.
Thank you for having me, gentlemen.
Yes, right, okay, so you'll be sat there now wondering what on earth is going on. Mr Kearins has got a special fantasy football competition linked to the Euros, where you can actually win a signed shirt from a Leeds United legend, is that correct?
Some would say Leeds United, some would say Manchester United, and that was Rio Ferdinand.
Oh, about West Ham.
West Ham as well. Yeah, definitely. And he also played a couple of games at QPR.
Yeah,
and I think he went on loan to Bournemouth as well.
Wow.
So there's quite a few clubs there that we.
That's the Harry Redknapp link,
Yeah.
So the opportunity now is that guys at home, you can click on the link that you would have seen through Seesaw, through Teams, through every type of portal within school to get your team registered for the fantasy football competition coming up. Top prize, as Mr Kearns just said, is a signed shirt from one and only Rio Ferdinand. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk to you about fantasy football. We're going to look through the different groups, pick out maybe some star players that you may not be aware of that might help you pick your team ready for the opening game Friday, which I'm a little bit disappointed with, gents, the opening game Friday, because if this had happened this time last year, I would currently have been in Italy.
I'm getting my ball
ready to watch Italy versus Turkey.
Everyone, get over it, Mr. Booth.
Yes. Anyway, onwards and upwards. We're going to start with Group A. We're going to run through who do we think is going to qualify from Group A. So we currently have Turkey, Italy, Wales, and Switzerland. I'll start with Mr. Kearns. Who do you think is going to win this group, and who's going to qualify with?
It's a tough group. Pretty equal, but I'd say Italy first and foremost. I think they'll win the group. They've got a young squad, and they always tend to do quite well at the big competitions. And then I would say, it's a tough one. I'd say Wales. I fancy Wales to do quite well. They've got some good players. They've got Gareth Bale, Aaron Ramsey, they've got Daniel James. So I think they'll be a bit of a surprise package. And that's for all the Wales fans out there, especially Mr James is probably watching.
Mr Pascal, clearly watching it.
Yeah.
Former WSO employee, you'll be watching, so you'll be happy with that.
And are you agreeing with him?
Yeah, I'm going both those. So I think Italy, we discussed on our podcast last week, the week before, that they're tournament football specialists. Yeah. So they win 6 games on the champions, and it wouldn't surprise me. Quite ill, but I picked out an experienced player when we get to that, who I picked in my team. And then I'm going with Wales as well. I think, as a Spurs fan, this could be about a swan song. I think you could turn it on, get them through to the knockout stages, retire, and become a golfer.
Okay, he's officially not yours anymore anyway, so it's Real Madrid.
He's always Spurs. He's always one of them.
I'm going to disagree with you guys. I'm going to agree with the Italy side of it. I think a little bit of an underdog here is Turkey. Done well within the group stage, and then of late have turned up some big teams in games. So I think they're going to be one. I think Wales may come in third, and then may pinch that qualifying spot as third as a good runner-up. But I'm going Italy and Turkey for myself. Heard it here first. That's one for tuna from my old phone. Representing the Turks. Right, okay, so players who we picked out, I think you've just mentioned. You're going Gareth Bale, Aaron Ramsey?
Yeah, and for Italy, I've got Rodrigo Chiesa. He's a winger. He's on loan from Fiorentina to Juventus. He's had a great season. And then you can't look past Cellini, the centre half for both Italy and Juventus. Two very good players. Both at either ends of their career, but I think they'll have a good competition.
Okay, got anybody else from that group, or have you just gone with them?
So we've got Granit Zepper from Arsenal for Switzerland. He's a good player. And I can't actually pronounce the name for Turkey. Hakan, he plays for AC Milan. I might try and pronounce his surname. He's a very good player. So yeah, they'd be the players that we'd look out for.
So have a look at that, see if they're of any value. I can imagine Cellini would be pretty expensive for being an experienced Italian defender. Mr Luffman or Jackie Boy?
Yeah, Jackie Boy. I've gone with both those. Bale, obviously, as I just said. I have Chiellini. I think also Wales, like Wilson, I think could be quite good on the set pieces. So yeah, I've got an soft feeling that Wales might go all right. I was there's a bit of controversy surrounding not really the manager that was planned to go with them, so I think that might go all right. So anybody from Wales, they'll be cheap as well. More than about fairly cheap.
There's quite a lot of pace in that team as well going forward.
The guys, I'm just going to break it to you, they're cheap because they're not qualifying.
We'll see.
Just going to go like that.
We'll see.
Right, okay, so I've got a couple of Turkey boys. I've got Yusuf Yaziki, who is from Lille. He's a left-footed striker, attacking midfielder, plenty of goals about him, and he's not shy of whacking one in from distance. I've also been advised to pick Burak Yilmaz, and that's come from Tuna Yildirim, our very own little Turkish man in year 13. He said, get him in. He said, get him in, you will not disappoint. That's were his words.
Big call, Tuna, big call.
From Italy, I've gone for somebody that people might not have heard of. Is Bastogne. It's Alessandro Bastogne from Inter Milan. Again, left-footed player. He's a defender, so the chances are he's trying to link up with Chiellini, and you're going to get him on the cheap. If you're looking at an Italian defender, he might be one worth looking at, and it's just a case of him. Can he break into that team to make sure he gets the points on the board? So he could be a bit of a gamble. From Wales, I'm going to show you Ethan Ampadu, the Chelsea boy. The way Wales set up at the moment is a 3-4-3. He could be one of them from three alongside Bale. So again, another cheap option. But again, these I'm going to say this out loud now is these are not guaranteed starters, but they may do well at games and then get some game time. And then for Switzerland, Kevin Mbappé. Okay, he's a Moronian right winger from Wolfsburg. Will get up and down and potentially gets himself assists along the way. So they're my shout outs for you guys if you want to have a look at them.
You've been studying this, by the way, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
I think there's a bit of preparation there.
These PE teachers are excellent, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really busy last night. Right, Group B. So we've got Denmark, Finland, Russia, and of course Belgium. Okay, so how do we see this one playing out? I'll start with Jack first. Are you going for the top two?
No, I think it's obviously Belgium and Denmark. I think Denmark actually could be a bit of an outside bet for the whole thing if you're looking for a dark horse to win it, because they've got some real quality in midfield. Obviously they've got a good goalkeeper as well in Schmeichel. Keep a lot of clean sheets in qualified, so I think they could be an outside run for the whole thing. But they'll definitely qualify. Belgium, I think, for me, are probably favourites, just ahead of France for the whole thing. And I like the way they play the football, and hopefully they win it. Martinez resigns, and maybe Spurs might get a decent manager, but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, no, Belgium, Denmark for me. And obviously, I've gone with Tillemans again from Belgium, because I think he's a bit of an unsung hero in that team. Obviously, with Leiner and Hazard and Lukaku and all those guys get all applauded, and rightly so. And obviously, everybody knows the experience of the back three, particularly the Spurs boys.
They're strong across the park, aren't they?
Yeah, Tillemans is decent, I think. And
Is
again, fairly reasonable price.
Is that Belgium's potential weak point in the back three?
Could be, because they're probably lacking
An
in pace.
agent, yeah.
An agent, but I think they're so good going forward, and they've got a good goalkeeper that they'll be right. And I've also picked out two days in Schmeichel, the goalkeeper, because they'll keep up clean sheets, like I said. And I've kept the theme of Spurs going, Ericsson as well, set pieces. There'll be a lot of free kicks and dead balls in this tournament, I think. And I think that's a key thing.
Okay, and what do you think, Mr Kearins?
So I'm going to go a little bit different. I was going to go Belgium and Denmark, but that's a bit boring. So I'm going to go with Belgium and Russia. With Belgium, the players I've picked out are Romelu Lukaku. He's done fantastic this season. They've won the Italian League for Inter Milan. And I've gone with Hazard as well. He's not had the greatest season at Real Madrid, but anyone who's ever played with him speaks very highly of him, how talented he is. So I think he's going to perform for this competition. And then Russia, I've gone with Alexander Golovkin. He's a very, very quick player from Monaco. I think he'll cause a lot of problems to a lot of teams. So for me, I'm going to go with Belgium as the winners and Russia as the runners-up, closely followed by Denmark.
Okay, interesting. But this time I'm going to agree with Jack.
Yeah.
I've gone with Belgium as the winners and Denmark as runners-up. And again, my one from each team, I've got Kasper Dolberg. He plays for Nice. He's going to be an off-the-bench player for Denmark, but a lot of creativity there. Obviously, your obvious ones are Christian Eriksen, Højbjerg, Schmeichel, but just one that you might want to have a little look out for and see how well he does. But he moved on from Ajax last year. For Finland, you'd probably go with Pukki.
That's Mr Sanders' favourite player.
Yeah,
as well.
but I didn't go with Pookie.
This season, it won't be next season when he doesn't score any goals in the Premier League.
Yeah, he'll do what he did last time, start the house on fire and then somebody have to put him out. But yeah, I've gone with Arni Valaraki, who plays for Paphos. He's a 21-year-old midfielder. Scored 13 times in 35 appearances for midfield. You've got to take into account the standard is not particularly high in Cyprus, but he did score against France in a game last year, so if he's capable of stepping up on the big stage, he might be able to pick you a few points up. I agree with you. I looked at Golovin, is that how you pronounce it? The Monaco player. Great dribbler. 21 assists last year, 9 goals in League One. Some good ones there. For Belgium, I did look at the obvious one, Lukaku. And then I had a look at this young lad called Jeremy Doku, who plays for Rennes. Highly rated player. Liverpool couldn't look at him. I nearly bought him last year, but instead he decided to stay at a mediocre team. He stayed with Rennes and has had a great season with them. The question mark again is he going to be able to get ahead of the two Hazards to get into the team? Is he going to be a bit part player? But we've seen it before with Belgium, is they do rotate players around. Like, we've seen Bastogne get in the team, and you think when you're watching the Premiership, like, how's he getting in front of Lukaku? So there's that chance Origi could potentially appear from, and he's done it in the past where they rotate around. So as an outside one, I've been looking at Jeremy Doku, who plays for Rennes.
Just one more player actually for Finland, Glenn Kamara. He's had a great season with Rangers. He might be another player that's.
I didn't realise he was Finnish actually.
Yeah, so he might be another person to look out for if you're looking for a differential and you're going to go a bit cheaper in his work.
Yeah, well that's it. If you want to get some of the big players in, you've got to stick a few cheap ones in there. Right, Group C, which is Netherlands, Ukraine, Austria, and according to Mr Walker, North Macedonia, the best team in the world. But right, I'll start this one. I'm going to go with Netherlands are going to finish top. Even though they are a little bit inconsistent, and I'm going to go with Ukraine second, which may be slightly controversial. I'll run through my players and I'll explain to you Ukraine won their qualifying group, which not many people know. Kind of gone under the radar. But yeah, for Netherlands, I think Gini Wijnaldum, international level scores goals.
Eight goals in qualifying because he was in my list. 8 goals in qualifying for midfield.
Doesn't score many for Liverpool, or didn't score many for Liverpool, but in the orange, he actually does really well. Maybe we should have a battle. That might be the way.
It'll be a big miss next season.
Oh, yeah, without a shadow. But yeah, I didn't go with him, but he was one of them that was on my list, and I went with another young talented forward called Mallon, who plays for PSV. He is going to be a bench player, but his impact from the bench is very high. So he is going to be one that he will start on the bench. But again, if he does well when he comes off the bench, we could see him in the later group stages games. Ukraine, I went for the goalkeeper, but this is really strange. He's a 19-year-old called Trubin. At the moment, Shevchenko selected the old guard Pyatov as the goalkeeper, but Pyatov has just been replaced by Trubin as the goalkeeper at Shakhtar. So they've actually swapped places at club level now. There's a thought process that they're actually going to do the same at high level, international level. So we could see Trubin's come in now, and Trubin's played the last few games in goal. Ukraine didn't concede many in the qualifiers either. But I've also picked out Victor, and I'm never going to get this one right, Taz Ganovkov, who's an attacking midfielder who scored a few in the qualifying groups. Again, we'll get forward and try and get beyond the striker to score some goals. And Ukraine don't really, even though they have Shevchenko as the manager, don't really have a natural number 9 goal scorer that's going to get them loads. So I think they'll rely from the players around the striker to step in and get some goals. From Austria, I got with Jibberish Euro, who is highly rated player. I know you guys are probably going to pick up Alba.
I've actually got one other person as well.
Oh yeah, but Alba, it depends. If Alba plays central, we'll find Schalke on the left. But if Alba goes to his favourite side on the left, we'll find Schalke through the middle. And then for North Macedonia, I did not pick the Leeds player. I've gone for Elif Alanos, who plays for Napoli. And again, attacking centre midfielder who plays for Napoli. So they're my picks for that group. Do you want to go next, Mr Kearins?
Yeah, I can go next. I'm going to go slightly different to Mr Booth. I'm going to go with Holland. I think they'll finish top. I think they're going to have a good competition. I think they're underdogs as well. I think obviously losing their star centre half hasn't helped. But I think they've got a good squad, and I think the group they've had will allow them to gain some momentum going to the next stages. So I'm going to go Holland top. And the players I picked was Memphis Depay, who's played for Manchester United, he's now at Lyon. He's had a great season. And then Frankie de Jong at Barcelona. And I'm going to go for Austria coming second. I think that they always do quite well. They're quite a tough team to beat. So they're who I put second. And the players I picked obviously David Alaba, who's from Bayern Munich, because everyone's probably going to pick, but also, forgive me if I pronounce this incorrectly, Marcel Sabitzer. He plays for RB in the German league. So
he's a centre midfielder.
He's what Spurs are constantly good player.
Very good player.
I know we're listening, so we won't be happy you pronounced it wrong. So
I apologise for that. And then for North Macedonia, I've gone for Goran Pandev. Plays in the Italian league. Again, for North Macedonia, a very good player. And then Ukraine, Shevchenko plays for Man City. He's a good player as well. So
yeah, I don't know where he plays in touch. Does he play left back or does he play in midfield?
I think they play more attacking.
Yeah,
I might be wrong, but I think they play more attacking. So I'm going to go Holland first and then Austria second.
Do you agree with us? Or do you
I agree with Mr Kearins. I've got Holland and Austria. I thought watching England, I know it's only a friendly, but watching England play Austria, that's how they're going to play. Hard to break down, try and get hold on the ball. Of course, Arnautovic is the guy I've picked. I know he plays
West Ham.
Yeah,
He's in China,
he's
isn't he?
in China. So you've got to, how competitive is that league? How match fit is he at that level? But he's got that ability. So I'm going those top two. And all the players that you've mentioned, I had down. Other than I have got Delict as well in my team, the young centre half for Holland. So I think that'll be part to play obviously with your man. Not in.
No, and you've got Nathan Ackes there as well.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. Right, Group D, which is probably the one that we're all kind of looking at.
Tough league, this one.
I've said to other people that England wouldn't surprise me if we won it. Wouldn't surprise me about the semis, but it equally wouldn't surprise me if we get out of the group, because I think it's a more difficult group that people definitely very good. Because Croatia, I know they're aging, but our record against them historically is not great.
Yeah.
Czech Republic are probably the weakest on paper, but again,
We did lose them in the qualifying in the group stage.
Exactly. And then Scotland, we should beat them every day of the week. But tournament football, England's against the local derby, so
they've got some good players.
yeah, it's tough. So, but I'm going to back us. Having said all that, I'm going to stay positive. England to win it. Czech Republic to come second.
Ooh, the West Ham duo. Have you put them as your two players?
Yes.
Okay, what are you recommending?
So I've gone from Scotland, Che Adams. I think he'll play, and he's a bit of a goal scorer. He's on a good run of form, and he's cheap.
He's not one for Southampton.
Yeah, he scored in the two friendlies. So I've gone for him from Scotland. From Czech Republic, I've gone for Pat Schnieke and Souček. Obviously, we've all seen what Souček can do for West Ham this year, and Schnieke is the forward 4 or 5 goals in qualifying. England, it's difficult to choose one beyond the obvious of like Kane, really, because nobody really knows who he's going to play. Obviously, you like to think that he plays. We've discussed this on our podcast. Go attacking. We can't defend this because we never get 5-4.
Yeah.
So I would be playing all of them. I'll be playing all of them.
Two of them
going to play. Yeah. So I don't know. It's difficult. I'd like to hope that he plays Foden and Mason Mount and Grealish, but I don't think you can play them all. So it'll be very difficult.
So you're picking then out of them three?
I think Grealish.
I've actually gone with Grealish as well. I just love the way when he dribbles the ball.
And like I've said about earlier today about dead balls, he's going to pick up a lot of free kicks, potentially a lot of penalties, and that brings him, Kane, other people into the game. So they're the four that I've gone. Croatia, you can't really look past the obvious about Modric people because he's still their main man, isn't he?
Okay, good. Mr Kearins, who are you going with?
I agree with Mr. Luffman with everything he said on here, but I'm going to go with England's top, and I'm going to go with Scotland second. I'm going to throw that out there for people watching.
That's just for Mr Smith.
Yeah, I mean Croatia have got some fantastic players. I mean the last World Cup showed how good they were, and they always perform well again at competitions. But I'm just going to be a little bit different, throw out there, a bit like Roy Keane, change things up slightly. So the players I'm going to pick, I'm going to go with for England, Harry Kane and Jack Grealish. Again, I don't know who Mr Southgate's going to pick, but I just think whenever Jack Grealish gets the ball, he's just so difficult with the ball off, and he always wins fouls in the attacking third. And Harry Kane, you can't look past him. He's unbelievable, true professional. And then for Scotland, this man I know is highly rated at Aston Villa, is John McGinn. Very, very good player. He's had some injuries this season, but I think he's a fantastic player, and I think Scotland will do a lot better than people give them credit for. And Scott McTominay as well. He had a fantastic game, his last game for Scotland. I think his last game was against Holland, is that correct?
He's
an engine
probably
box to box.
Probably Man United's best player, isn't he?
Yeah.
In that European Cup final.
And then for the Czech Republic, I've gone for West Ham duo, Kufal and Suchek. Had a great season at West Ham. West Ham done brilliant in the Premier League this year. And then for Croatia, I've gone for Luka Modric and Persic, Inter Milan.
Persic.
Yeah, Persic. That's right. I thought he was brilliant in the last World Cup. Fantastic player, really rate him. And it would surprise me. I know I said England top, Scotland second, but if Croatia did come through and win Group 2. But yeah, so on to you.
Okay, I'm going England to win it, and I'm going to go Croatia second. Actually, dead bizarrely, when we were allowed to travel, I went to the England-Czech Republic game. In the first qualifying where England spanked them 5-0, and they were just levels apart. I know towards the end we'd already qualified, so I think that Czech Republic beating England is slightly insignificant because everything was already done and dusted, and it was a rotation thing. But England, I think you can't look, you're completely right, Jack Grealish, but if I was trying to look for maybe a slightly cheaper option, I'm going to go with Phil Foden because he's going to like Paul Gascoigne.
Yeah.
Just
I love his stance, the way he moves the ball, he's just so relaxed.
He's just natural talent. But you're saying if you've got Grealish and Foden on the ball, defenders will just be literally going, I hate this. This is the worst nightmare. From Croatia, I've gone with an unknown quantity. His name is Brekalo. He plays for Wolfsburg. He's a winger. He's one of only 4 players under the age of 22 in the Croatian squad. He's likely to one that's going to get the most game time. He's coming off his best scoring season at Wolfsburg. So in the league up to this competition, he's had 20 appearances for Croatia and scored 5 goals. So I think if you're looking for another potential cheap option that's not a known player, this is your go-to player. Scotland, the guys I've already named are all up there, but I'm going to throw in this one. He's a young pup, Chelsea boy, Billy Gilmore.
Billy's a proper Scottish name.
Very good player by all accounts.
Yeah, really good player, and it's just a case of can he get in there? Will they play him and McTominay in the middle together as that holding line?
I mean, those two you talk about, those two, and then McGinn. That's not midfield three.
McGinn's actually, I think he really makes when he's not playing and Villa looking for a team, a bit like when Villa looking for a team when Grealish isn't playing. I think McGinn brings so much to it. McGinn's just got a bad track record of picking up silly bookings and giving away fouls and stuff like that. So that's a bit more worry about him. And then the other one I picked up was Patrick Schick, which is the guy that you picked, and he's basically their goal threat for Czech Republic.
You think he's the big lad, isn't he?
He plays a lot back. They try and get him to play a lot back to goal, try and bring people in. But right, Group E, so it's Spain, Sweden, Poland, Slovakia. I think this is quite a tough one to pick out.
I went for Poland to win it. Spain and Poland. Spain to win it, and Poland to pick the other two purely on the back of Lewandowski. I don't think you can rule out. He's arguably him and Kane are probably the only generally number 9s in the world or whatever time, and I think he's obviously very good. So Spain and Poland, and Spain's the obvious one you're going to pick out.
Yeah, definitely, and I think Sweden now they don't look as attacking going forward with the big man missing.
He is missing, but they've got another decent striker in there. I'll talk about him in a second.
So I picked out Lewandowski, and then that's all I've got to actually. I'll be honest with you.
Lewandowski. Who we got for yours? Are you going Spain and?
I'm going to go Spain and Poland, and obviously Lewandowski for Poland. But for Spain, I've put Rodri down and Marino plays for Villarreal. Good striker. I've actually got him in my dream team.
I actually got Torres on my bench in my dream team, the young Spanish defender. He's cheap.
And I think with Spain as well, there's less pressure on him in this competition. I think in previous years they've had so many good players. I think they could be a surprise package too. So I'd go with Spain top and then Poland second.
Okay, I'm going to agree with you. I think it's the first time we're going to agree. Spain top, Poland second. I've gone with Ferran Torres from Man City as a potential player to look at. He'll get some game time, and obviously, as the season's gone, he's looked better for City. And I think in the long run, he'll look an absolute steal at 20 million for Man City. Sweden, I think I've got another look at Alexander Isaac, Real Sociedad, 21-year-old striker. So he's bursting onto the scene. It's his first major tournament, and somebody needs to take up Zlatan's mantle. This boy could step up, and he's quick.
Yeah.
Very, very quick. Poland, I've gone with Jakub Morde, who plays for Brighton. So it'll be interesting to see how he does in the competition. And Slovakia, I was really digging around because I didn't have a clue about Slovakia, and I picked out a guy called David Strelec, who plays for Bratislava. He's a 20-year-old striker. Got a good record in his home country, but yet has only had 3 caps, but still has got 1 goal to his name. So not expecting a lot from Slovakia.
I had Milan Skriniar for Inter Milan. He's meant to be a really good player too, so that might be someone worth in the team.
And then we said the worst group to last.
The group of death.
Yeah, Group F, but group of death. Hungary, thanks for turning up. Portugal, France, and Germany. This is going to be a flick of a coin.
I think I'm going to be controversial.
I know who you're going to go for.
I'm going to go France because I don't think you can see past them. I think they've got every single base covered. Pick a player, any player from France that you want.
You're not going to go Hungary second, are you?
Germany. I'm not going to
Germany.
I'm going Germany.
They're always good.
Because of exactly what I said about Italy, we said on my podcast earlier, exactly what you said there, Mr Kearins. They are tournament football. Yeah. They will just go to win every game 1-0, and they're good enough to do it. They've got loads of experience. Hummels, and they've still got quality at the top. I think Portugal, I know they've got Fernandes, we should say Bruno, those Man United fans, and Ronaldo that you'll all pick, and they'll all do right. I just think there's a bubble there ready to burst.
Yeah.
And this could be the tournament. They're very petulant, I believe.
Okay, and what you go for, Mr. Kearins?
I'm going to totally agree with Mr. Luffman, and I feel, just by the way, fantasy football this year, I did pretty well, just to let the audience know.
Okay.
Feelings about these two. Yeah, so I'd agree with Mr. Luffman. I'd say France is so, I mean they're all strong, but France is so strong. The 2 players I've picked is Mbappe. I mean you can't look past him really, and the little man Kante. I think he's not going to get you loads of goals, but he makes France tick. He covers every inch.
If you could get Mallon d'Or, just talking to him, it'd be class if he did, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he's so humble, and that's what I like about him. He's not arrogant, and I think he still drives a Mini Cooper. Nothing wrong with a Mini Cooper, but some of these guys drive Ferraris, and you know, I just really
Big
like
off
him.
his wages away.
I get what you're saying. I just don't think he had a great start to the season.
Do you think that was down to where he's been made played?
Possibly because he wasn't played as his natural position.
Yeah.
He played mid further forward. But
It's interesting anyway, we digress, but I'd like to see a Ballon d'Or winner, somebody different than a forward who bangs in on the goals, because that's what he usually does.
So I've got a couple more players. Josh Kimmich for Germany for Bayern Munich, and Gundogan for Man City. I think they're two.
Mr Larkin's favourite, Gabby Logan, he calls him. I can't pronounce it.
yeah, so Gabby Logan is
Gabby Logan is in Mr Kearins' tips.
And then for Portugal, you can't, again, Ronaldo. He's still phenomenal. He looks after himself. He's probably the last one off the training ground. I think he'll have another good competition. And I know they're probably taking this out of Mr. Boo's mouth, but Jota. I think Jota, every time he's played for Liverpool this season, he's been brilliant.
He's done well at international as well.
So, and I'll give it a go for Hungary. Dominic Kapuskali for he plays in the German league. Another strong player.
Yeah, I think from a point of view is you pick any one of them 3 that's going to qualify. I expect all 3 to qualify.
Yeah.
I just don't know how it's going to work on the point system because they're going to have to all beat Hungary and then potentially pick up draws against one another, and then hopefully finish in that 3rd spot. But I'm going to go France to win it, and I'm going to go Portugal second, Germany finish 3rd. think it'll be down to the draws and maybe the odd goal difference.
Yeah.
Hungary, if I was advising now, stay clear of all their players. But if you want a cheap option, there is a lad called Roland Saleh, who currently plays for Freiburg, and he's done alright this year, scoring 8 goals and getting 6 assists. For Portugal, I'm going to avoid the norms. I'm not going to touch Ronaldo, I'm not going to touch Jota, I'm going to touch Fernandes. I'm going to go with Nuno Mendes. He is a player that's been talked a lot about in the columns, and people have seen him firsthand. He's a sporting fullback and is considered the stalwart of the Portuguese defence line. So he would be one if you're looking for a defensive good player. You've got him there, or Cancelo, who obviously is
Beautiful player.
I do like Cancelo.
Diaz as well.
Yes.
They say that he's like the Amsterdam, he's meant to be.
They've got plenty of talent there.
Yeah.
But the only problem is you've got to try and negate through the group stages, then maybe put them in later on. France, I'm going to go for Lilian Thuram's son, Marcus Thuram, who's come in at the moment. He's a winger who's contributed 15 goals in the Bundesliga this year for Mönchengladbach. Again, he's going to be a bench player, but if you wanted to try and look at a cheap option that's going to come on, then you might think that maybe against Hungary when they'll rotate the squad a little bit, stick him in for that game. But yeah, you can pick anyone, Mbappe, but these boys are going to cost you an arm and a leg to get them in. And for Germany, I've actually selected Kimmich. I think he brings a lot to the team. He can play fullback, centre midfielder. He's decent on free kicks as well. Great delivery of the ball. And there's another guy called Florian Norris who plays for Mönchengladbach as well. He's a 24-year-old midfielder who scored 7 goals and 8 assists in the Bundesliga this year. So if you're looking around that squad and you want to avoid the heavy hitters like Havertz, Muller, Gnabry, Sané, these are going to be really expensive players. If you want to try and look for a little bit of value around the edge, you might be a one. But so that's all the group stage before we disappear. Guys, listen to this, please hit the subscribe button, follow us, watch our other videos, they are awesome, I'm telling you now. But before we leave, we're going to ask each of the gentlemen here to pick their overall winner. You can't pick, I think it might be this one or this one.
Yeah.
Just one country. And we'll start with Mr. Luffman.
Going with my heart, I'm going England.
England. Mr. Kearins.
I'm going England, so it's a lot of their games, or I think all their games are based in London. There's never a better time. Maybe a little bit weak at the back with a few injuries, but I think England.
Said that about the 96 as well, though. Said about 96. I am going to go Vive la France. I don't think there's any other winners other than them. But guys, remember, follow the links, have a go at the fancy football, win a signed shirt from Rio Ferdinand. But thanks for tuning in. Good luck and all the best. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
I reckon we went over there, didn't we?
Yeah, it's about 30 minutes or time.